Like, what the is going on in this world where people would fight someone who's telling you every day to be better?
Yeah.
And any one of my haters.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yo, look, my boy DJ Khaled, another one.
That's right.
We're at the shop. We're about to get some shit over here.
That's right.
Man, you gotta pull up to Miami.
That's
Pull
right.
up to
That's
Miami.
right.
Let's
Pull
go
up to
get this.
Miami.
Do I not project a lot of asshole characteristics on my Instagram? I do. If you're not okay with assholes, get the away from me. I like assholes as long as they're not directly doing anything negative to me. But if they're just speaking a certain way, I like those type of people.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, guys, we are back once again with a really damn special one today. And it just always seems that the alpha male universe always gets more insane the more that these little alpha males get more upset. Because today, we have what I can confidently say is probably the biggest Wes Watson Glazer that we have seen to date. We have a man who is riding the Pegster's Mini Watson to full completion and then riding it some more. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Angie was jealous of the guy we have today. And not only is he a mega glazer, but he's also a mega glazer that is copying Wesley's tactics and trying to silence anybody that seems to disagree with him, including JD DeLay, Bubba, Daddy Wells, and Trans Wes Watson. So this guy's trying to shut pretty much everybody up and trying to hide a very interesting court case that I of course now have to talk about it since he's taking the bitch way and trying to keep everybody quiet. So with all of that said, the man we're talking about today is known as Josh Hare, or on his TikTok as Dead Longer Than Alive, which as you can clearly tell is just covered with the Pegster. And this guy is just completely something else, especially when you consider that he was one of Wesley's students that was stupid enough to pay for him to be his friend and to make appearances in some of his videos. And if you haven't seen Josh or aren't sure who he is, he basically became known at first for obviously hanging out with Wes, but also hosting a podcast where he did some next level dick riding. That's the only way I can put it. He was just straight up Wessing the Pegster's Watson the entire time.
Oh, Wes.
Yeah.
I'm Wessing your Watson.
It consisted of some hardcore moments like these right here, where he was not only defending his poppy at all cost against anybody saying anything negative about him using Angie's daughter for views, but on top of this, he was also trying to defend Wesley's prison stories and just trying to give him an opportunity wherever he could to make Wes just look like this Billy Goat badass.
You being a father now, right? There's so many lowlives and weak men that are talking shit about you helping out Angie's daughters. And it's just, it blows my mind. It's like, this is what we need. We need more men that are willing to do that.
these are the men who have kids they don't take care of.
Right.
These are the men who had a dad that they didn't know. They're very broken children. No real man would fail to take care of a child.
Because some people always go to, oh, well, he had this huge prison story. Yeah, but that's because that's his life. That's his, there's a lot of
So someone right now wrote me and said, that's a lie right there. Talking about my boy Taylor Kavanaugh, who went from a Navy SEAL to prison or jail and then became a French Foreign Legion. And like the guy's like, that's not even possible, blah, 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 blah. And the guy had like 76 followers. He was just so mad that he's not in the spotlight.
And from those clips alone, I'm sure that you can tell that he's out here doing tricks on that shit. He's spinning on it, sitting on it, doing flips on it, pretty much everything he can to back Wes up on all of his BS. And I'm sure that this is somewhere in some sort of contract to where he had to make Wes look good for him to be on the podcast. But fucking hell, it was just next level. And it was just the beginning of it. Because when he wasn't just outright making it clear as day that he was doing some glazing and trying to do this, he was also just giving Wes a platform to say whatever the hell he wanted, and to say just some out-of-pocket or stupid things, or to cry about the haters like usual, while he sat there and nodded his head like a good boy, just asking to be pegged some more. Like, it was insane. I do not think Josh had a different opinion from Wes on a single topic or disagreed with a single thing he said. Wes could have told Josh that he wanted to lay his balls on his forehead, and Josh would have been nodding his head in excitement, talking about he totally agrees. And it just featured multiple clips like these right here that were so goofy and stupid at the same exact time.
I can't stand some of these people who speak. I'm like, show me your whip, show me your bitch. That's an old ass Rolls Royce and your chick's a 4. Shut the up and sit down. Big boys are talking. There's a new thing where, you know how they used to pay for likes?
Yeah.
People who hate you pay for smut. They pay to your comment section up.
Bro,
So someone's paying a bot farm to with everything I do. And they don't like me.
yeah, they don't have like any pictures.
No, they're fake. They're
They got like 40 followers or whatever.
never real.
Yeah.
And then, like, at one time I was like, the guy was acting like he was like a northerner from California, like a Mexican dude from like California prison. And then he got me to say some shit and he's like, haha, I'm giving this to Johnny Bravo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually from Russia. I'm a hacker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys are fucking gay, bro.
Right.
Have you ever looked at you, bro? You fucking suck. I would have an issue with you even being around me.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you not have a relationship issue?
Most times when people find out that I'm sober, they tell me why they're not. They justify.
There it is.
They justify.
They start. That's what people are doing in the comment section when they're talking shit. They're justifying why they can't get in children.
I didn't ask you. Why are you telling me you're demons?
That's
between you and God.
They're just pouring it out to you.
Right, and they want this epiphany to hit them on how to not do it. It's so easy. If you don't do the drug or the alcohol, you won't get drunk. You won't get high.
King of the nerds, Weirdoville, Reddit. They're basically probably all homosexuals. Like, they don't get chicks.
And there you have just a little taste of the two men talking about how everyone else is gay except them, when they just sit there and glaze each other nonstop. And it was all some incredible work. And even though all of these different clips really stood out and gave you an idea of who Josh was, I did notice 2 clips when I was going through this that really seemed to relate to the court case that Josh is trying to keep quiet. And in these clips, they talk about weakness of men and a few other small things. And I'm just gonna play them and we'll discuss them after and talk about this little court case that he doesn't want anybody to see.
Talking about how weak men is a problem for men and women in general. Like, it's our obligation to be our best selves and to be a leader to prevent women from having to be super masculine. And I don't mean, like, when I say masculine, I mean they think that the majority is the reality.
Do you not get that it's not the Dan Bilzerian guy or the stud like Wes Watson who's ever the closet weirdo? Do we understand that yet, everybody?
Right.
Like, do you guys know who the weirdos are? They're the people who have no picture on their page. They're the out of shape people. They're the recluses. They're the shut-ins. They're the guy who haven't had a girlfriend in 5 years.
And you see, it is really funny that Wes brought that up there in that last clip when it relates to little old Joshua here, and how they're talking about weirdos and how weirdos don't look like them apparently, and how weak men are the problem now. And I actually do agree with that last part, that weak men are the problem, and it is weak men like Josh that end up appearing to do really stupid things and then end up looking more guilty by trying to silence everybody who talks about it. So with that perfect segue from Wes and Josh here, we're going to discuss this public court case on a public figure that was originally shown by trans Wes Watson and by Bubba. And what I have up on the screen now will show you that we're talking about Josh here, where you can see that it has his full name. That is a public name that he was already displaying, and it discusses his public felony charges that state that Joshua here did engage in blank with another person, and the compliant is at least 13 but less than 16 years of age, and the actor is more than 24 months older than the compliant. So just from this first screen, I'm sure you can tell that this doesn't seem to be a very good case. And it is no wonder that he's trying to hide it. But as we dive deeper into it, we come across some more of the details of his little case, where it's stated that defendant, who is Josh, I'm going to make that clear, the defendant here in this text is going to be Josh throughout it, and RN developed a romantic relationship. RN had a close friendship with SK, born October 31st, 1997, who was 14 years old during the time period. Defendant met SK while at RN's home. Defendant never asked SK her age, but assumed she was a peer of RN and at least 16. Defendant testified that he believed SK to be 16, given her poise and confidence, and described SK as a well-spoken, smart, and more mature than he was. Which is pretty interesting because, as we'll see here in a moment, that Josh appeared to be 20 here, according to the text. But moving forward with the documents that Bubba provided, it stated that as the romantic relationship between defendant and RN began to deteriorate, defendant and SK began communicating via text message, where defendant would seek counsel from SK, as well as information on RN, defendant, and SK met in person on the night of March 30th, 2014. And then the next slide goes on to provide more context to that meeting, where both SK and defendant testified that on the night of March 30th, 2014, they engaged in blank car near SK's home in Burnsville, Dakota County, Minnesota, which included blank at the time of the incident. Defendant was 20 years old and SK was 14 years old. Both parties testified the blank was brief, and defendant testified they stopped because he was sketched out, giving they were in a car in a public space. He had just ended a romantic relationship with RN, who was close friends with SK, and SK's phone was ringing. Defendant denied the blank ceased because he was aware of SK's age. The court finds the testimony credible. And this then goes on to further involve even more detail, where it is stated that on April 5th, 2014, Burnsville police received a report from a confidential reporter who identifies herself to police about possible criminal blank between two identified individuals. Through investigation, Nicollet Junior High School officer Justin Bird eventually met with SK to discuss the incident, and SK admitted the blank occurred. While discussing the incident with the officer, SK made reference to a comment made by defendant asking SK about either 9th grade or junior high. The state was unable to satisfactorily establish a timeline for when the comment was alleged to have been made by the defendant to SK, nor the context of the comment. Defendant acknowledges he may have made such a statement, but it would have been in a joking manner and not because he believed SK to be a junior high student at the time. Again, this court finds defendant's testimony credible in this regard. And I'm just going to pause here for a second because this is actually insane in my mind, where apparently it is alleged that this man was making jokes about it and jokes about her being in 9th grade, but they couldn't establish a timeline. Now, I don't know if they could or couldn't, whatever, right? But I don't know what the hell this court was doing to find this shit credible. I mean, in my personal opinion, so this isn't any type of fact, but if you were 20 years old, you should know the difference of a person who is in fucking 8th or 9th fucking grade. Like, what are we doing here? You are a 20-year-old grown man. How is this such a mix-up to where you would make a mistake like this with a 14-year-old? So it's actually just crazy, but then it keeps going. And in the next one, we actually have the finding, where it states that given defendant's reasonable mistake as to SK's age, defendant is not guilty of 3rd-degree criminal blank, a felony, for an incident that occurred on March 30th, 2012 in Dakota County, Minnesota. That charge is hereby dismissed. So as I said, in my opinion, if I was on the court, it wouldn't have gone this way. Because from everything that I can tell from this very limited paperwork, that does appear to be true, especially since he is going out of his way to silence all of it without contesting it or saying, you know, this is bullshit. It is incredible to me that this guy's a 20-year-old couldn't spot the difference between a 14-year-old and someone who is of age. And instead of trying to argue, which I guess he can't, this little slimeball here has been issuing privacy complaints on a public court case to just try to get the videos taken down any way that he can. And Bubba has of course made a post about it, and I've of course talked with him about it. But in that post, we also saw JD Delay making a comment stating that the guy tried to hit him with it too, and that YouTube will review it and deny the privacy claim. But then on top of that, I also went to Daddy Wells' channel where she had a video on him as well, and magically that one was just gone too. And I reached out to her, and it appears that she got hit with the same bullshit. So nothing screams a guilty look like just trying to keep everybody quiet instead of, you know, arguing with it with your own logic or your own argument. So this shit is just not a good look at all. And on top of that, it's just not going to work at all because there is no privacy issue here. He is a public figure with a public court case, posting things publicly on multiple different platforms. And I just had to cover it because he is taking a pussy way out and trying to duck this and just trying to get other people's stuff taken down. But with that said, I think that's enough of talking about this goober for one day. So if you enjoyed, please drop a sub and a like and join the Saints Mafia, where we are flaming all of these fake alpha males. And I'm out. Watching Josh Hare try to hide his case. In peace.
He is somebody who is trying to silence us because he has filed a fake privacy claim against me because I talked about his public case that involved him and a minor when he was in his early 20s. And he doesn't want people to know about this, but I'm not going to stand for this horseshit, man. And when I called him out yesterday, right, saying that he was doing this, he filed another privacy claim against a different video. So I know he's watching. So I'm going to address you, Josh Hare, that you're a piece of shit and you're not going to silence us.